You're listening to 1 Minute Podcast Tips. Quick, practical advice to help you podcast smarter, not harder. Hit follow so you don't miss an episode. And now, this week's tip. There's something you need to be really careful about when you're looking at ways to grow your podcast, and that's so-called professional podcast promoters. Now, there are legitimate companies and people who can help you promote your podcast, but if someone promises you thousands of new listeners for a relatively small amount of money, I'd be asking a lot of questions. Because while a big download number can look fantastic on the surface, what matters is whether those downloads represent actual people listening to your podcast. So here's something you can look at. Compare your downloads to your audience or listener numbers. If you're seeing 10 or 20 times as many downloads as listeners, that's something I'd want to understand. Now, it doesn't automatically mean the traffic is fake. Podcast measurement is complicated and downloads aren't the same as people. But if the numbers don't make sense, start looking at the detail. Where are these downloads coming from? What podcast apps are being used? Are you suddenly seeing unusual platforms, locations, or listening behaviour you've never seen before? And perhaps most importantly, does that audience stick around? Because if someone promises you 10,000 downloads, but you don't see a corresponding increase in listeners, followers, engagement on future episodes, what have you actually gained? And there's another reason this matters. Advertisers and sponsors don't just want a big number. They want to know who you're reaching. Podcast advertising relies on consistent, trustworthy measurement, which is why the IAB has industry guidelines around how downloads, listeners, and invalid traffic are measured. If a potential sponsor looks at your numbers and can't make sense of them, that can make them think twice about working with you. So, rather than chasing the biggest download number you can get, focus on building an audience you know is real. Grow your podcast authentically, and make sure the numbers you're proud to share actually reflect the people listening. Because 1,000 real listeners are worth far more than 20,000 downloads you can't explain. Until the next time, happy podcasting. Thanks for listening to 1 Minute Podcast Tips, helping you podcast smarter, grow faster, and enjoy the process. I'll see you in the next episode.
Okay, last meeting wrapped. It's too late to cook. Should I order poke or a burger?
At war with myself, feeling choosy. Burger or tuna, what a doozy. If only I could have one of every bite. Why can't we have food without the fight?
With Wonder, you can combine 20 restaurants in one delivery, so you never have to choose. Use code MEALTIME for 50% off your first Wonder order. Terms apply. See wonder.com/new customer.